Item 1.3, roll call, establishment of quorum.
Ashley,
Present.
trustee Carpenter. Present. Trustee Corona.
Present.
Trustee Smith.
She say Smith?
Yeah.
Present.
Trustee Silva. Student trustee Cardenas.
Present.
Academic Senate John Torres.
Present.
Classified Senate Ronnie Armas.
Present.
Government Association Claudia Waluko.
Present. Item 1.4, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of March 20th. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve. I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Student trustee, please vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
Item 1.5, approval of minutes, board retreat of March 28th, 2025. Do we have a motion? Thanks.
I'll second.
You, trustee Corona. Any discussion? Seeing none, student trustee, please vote.
Abstain.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye. Aye.
On now to item 1.6, revision, adoption, ordering of the agenda. Do we have revisions or no, we don't? Okay, seeing none, is there any discussion? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Discussion. Student trustee, please vote. Trustees, please vote. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
On to item 2 on our agenda, comments of individual groups, delegations, limited to closed session items only. Do we have anyone seeking to speak today for closed session? We do not. So now we will now adjourn to closed session to discuss 3.2, conference with real property negotiator, 3.3, conference with legal counsel, potential litigation, 3.4, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, 3.5, public employee performance evaluation, and then we will reconvene and report out. So with that, we are now adjourned to closed session. Welcome back. We are reconvening to open session and report out. And we have one item to report out of closed session, and I will just read it. Just read it. The board unanimously voted to enter into a settlement agreement with general release of all claims for the former employee with personnel number 255628 as set forth in the settlement agreement. It was moved by Vicky Carpenter, seconded by Hollister Corona, and there was a 4-0 vote with one trustee absent. And that's you. We are now moving on to 4.1, public comment. Public comment for items that are on the agenda. Do we have any public comment? Seeing that there's none, we will move on to item 5.1, board president and trustees. And as is tradition, we'll start at the end with trustee Calvin Smith and we'll move across.
Good evening, everyone. This month I have attended a couple of public events and met with actually a couple of our legislators. But what I really want to highlight is if we watch the news or social media or anything that's out there, there's so much turbulence and turmoil. We got to remember there's always been turbulence and turmoil, no matter how far back you go in history. And as someone who's lived through a lot of adversity, I can tell you we need to stay calm. And most importantly, we just need to be positive and uplift everyone else and not get caught up in all of this because we will go forward. That's it.
Oh, trustee Corona, thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. Over spring break, my family and I had a chance to visit the beautiful lavender farm in Cherry Valley near Yucaipa. We also participated in a 5K run in Paris, which was a special moment shared with my entire family, my aunt, cousins, siblings, spouse, kids, and parents. While in Paris, I had the pleasure of greeting Assemblyman Dr. Corey Jackson and State Senator Sabrina Cervantes, along with mayor and several city council members. One of the city council members, Marcela Nava, previously worked at MSJC and recently spoke at the Menifee campus for Women's Advocacy Month. I'd also like to acknowledge Mr. Bivens, Superintendent of Paris Elementary, for a strong partnership with the City of Paris. Now, you may have noticed I mentioned Paris a lot, and that's intentional, but not as a critique. It's just a friendly reminder that Paris is an important part of the region for MSJC that we serve. As we continue updating and refining our public relations, it would be wonderful to make sure that the cities like Paris are clearly highlighted, and they are. I also want to mention Canyon Lake at last month's K-12 summit. Like it was about a month and a half ago. Canyon Lake City Council member Dale Welty was in attendance. He's active in the community as a leader and a strong advocate for higher education initiatives like the Southwest Riverside County of Higher Education Coalition. As we prepare for the upcoming State of the College event, it could be a great opportunity to ensure our maps reflect the full reach of MSJC's impact, including vibrant cities like Paris and Canyon Lake. It's all about continuing to strengthen our connection to the communities that we proudly serve. In Lake Elsinore, the community just kicked off the season with the first Storm baseball game this Friday. The city is always active, especially with events centered around the lake. Fun fact, council member Timothy Sheridan is the actual announcer of the Storm games. I also want to talk about Wildomar City Council members. They do a wonderful job. They had a cleanup day, and there's just a lot of events happening over the week. I want to give a special recognition to Andy Pasolini and Karen Marriott and other staff for working so hard and continuously updating and performing or perfecting our public relations and government relations information. Let's keep moving forward. As for spring break, I hope our students, classified professionals, and faculty had a restful and fulfilling time. Personally, my break starts next Friday, so I'm looking forward to it. Lastly, I'm excited to share that I'll be participating in the pickleball tournament and staff and admin award ceremony on May 2nd. I'm decent, I'm not like the best. I plan to attend several other events throughout our campuses in the following weeks, such as a graduation ceremony. I look forward to celebrating the incredible work of our MSJC team. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Corona. Trustee Silva, the floor is yours.
Thank you, trustee Ashley. Good afternoon, everybody. I, along with my board colleagues, attended a board retreat at the Hampton Inn and Suites in Banning, which was emceed essentially or hosted by Dr. Pamela Fisher on March 28th. I really enjoyed the time with my board colleagues and believe that we are even more prepared to lead the college in the months and years ahead. I want to thank staff for facilitating the retreat and thank my board colleagues for their commitment in attending the retreat. As a CSEA member for 17 plus years with two different chapters, Chapter 291 and Chapter 407, I wanted to offer congratulations to the district and CSEA Chapter 767 for arriving at a tentative agreement to compensate our classified employees. I look forward to supporting item 8.2. I wanted to extend my congratulations to both the women's tennis team and the men's tennis team, as both programs qualified multiple student athletes for the Ojai Tennis Tournament. Between now and our next board meeting, will be the holiday of Easter on April 20th. And for my family to yours, I would like to wish everyone a happy Easter. I wanted to once again perform my public duty and remind everyone that this weekend is not only Thomas Jefferson's 282nd birthday on Sunday, but it's also the first of 2 weekends of the Coachella Music and Arts Festival in Indio, with Stagecoach to follow the weekend of April 25th through 27th. Please remember that the first Monday after the first weekend of Coachella is a disaster on the 10 freeway going west out of Palm Springs. It routinely takes 4 hours to travel the 45 miles to Redlands. So stay off the 10 freeway, please. And with that, I would like to wish everyone a happy and safe National Siblings Day. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, trustee Silva. Trustee Carpenter, you may give your remarks.
Thank you. Well, I also attended the strat planning retreat that we had. It was very enlightening, and I look forward to the years ahead. I wanted to talk, this morning I started the City Managers Forum at Pachanga, and it's eye-opening what's going on in the Southwest Corridor here with the cities and the growth and a potential student base, coming our way. There was a job fair this morning or today hosted by MSJC, the Chamber and the City. I understand it went well, so that's good news. And today Rotary Club of Menifee donated, they did the food pantry or Eagles Landing did a short presentation at Rotary, and we donated $500 to the pantry. And so it's a needed cause, and I'm glad that we have it for our students here and families. That concludes my report.
Thank you. My report is short. First of all, I just wanted to start with not thanking Roger for our video, our little video edit. We had to do a video shoot last week. Now, I'm not going to tip off because it's to be seen at a later date, but it was a little more stressful than I anticipated, but I think I did okay. But thanks a lot, Raj. It's like, I like it when I just can read off of a prompt.
I'm with you, trustee. Actually,
I think we all did fine though. So I heard we all did great. So that's good. Great. Secondly, I also wanted to thank all the people that worked to make our Board of Trustees retreat at the Hampton Inn in Beaumont. Or was that Banning? Yes, in Banning. It was a great retreat. Dr. Fisher, as always, leads a very good retreat. We covered some really important topics. And so thank you all for making that happen. And thanks to Pam Fisher, who's not here to hear that. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to Vice President of Human Resources, Janine Stokes. Although she's not retiring today, unless something goes horribly wrong for her, this is her last board meeting she will possibly ever have to attend as a cabinet member. You might attend as just to say hi someday. And I would love to thank you for all your hard work. And, honestly, it's just what makes you so good is that you have integrity, you're honest, you know your job, and you've earned the respect of the entire college, along with other colleges as well. I care about this one, and thank you so much, Vice President Stokes. You've been amazing. With that, we will move on to our student trustee report.
Good afternoon, everybody. A lot has happened within the past month, and I'm honest with you, this board meeting came a little bit sooner than I had imagined because of how fast this past couple of weeks have been going, and it's a good and a bad thing, because I'm tired. But honestly, there's just been a lot going on, and I don't think it's ever gonna stop because there's a lot gonna be going on the next month. Considering that this is the second to last meeting that I'm gonna be in, I just want to say that I'm grateful to be in this position and be able to voice the concerns of students and advocate for things. A lot of the things that I've done this past couple of weeks was I was also in the same video. I do not want to be talking details in case I'm not supposed to, but it honestly was a great honor to be a part of it. And I want to say thank you for giving me that chance to speak on my experiences. Not gonna give too much. You guys will see it sometime next semester, I've heard. But huge honor, amazing honor. I was very happy to be there. I was in LA for our General Assembly conference for SSCCC this past spring break. Definitely cut it in half, but it was definitely an amazing experience. I love General Assembly conferences. They have a lot of things that are happening throughout their resolutions, voting it through, and I had the honor to be the delegate for our school. So being with that cohort that went along, President Waluka was with me and the people, other SGA members, and I have high hopes for the next board of student government. There's fantastic people who are continuing to stay next year, and they care about the school as much as everyone else does. So I think we are in good hands for the next year. But it was definitely a lot happening, and it was just very taxing to be the delegate because really paying attention to these resolutions being passed and seeing what our college had, well, our student government's opinions on what things should and shouldn't be passed was honestly a really big discussion. But it shows that a lot of the things that we have a privilege of, a lot of community colleges don't. And I think that is really important to recognize that when we're fighting for these resolutions, we're considering putting our shoes in others because they do not get the privileges that we don't. And I just want to say that we are highly privileged. Some are even fighting for clean water. Yeah. um, Moving on, I just completed my student-centered listening sessions a week after our previous board meeting, and I've still collecting data. I even just got some more right now. So a lot of interesting information. I just want to emphasize on the importance of these spaces, and I'm sure as we all know, but the enthusiasm and excitement of these students when I told them that we're fighting for these were so motivating, because it's important to have these spaces. They want these spaces. They're looking forward to these different things that they'll have access to, different clubs, different students who commute, different interests, because it's important that we have these community on our campuses and they're able to connect our campus to that community. So I'm very proud to be a part of this project, and I'm very happy to be leaving behind something that will hopefully really benefit our community college students, because they do really want this. It's such an amazing opportunity, and I really wish that it comes into fruition while I'm in UCR. Speaking of UCR, I am now a Highlander. Yay! I just accepted my admission letter. I already have to work through all the nitty-gritty, but honestly, very exciting to go on to my next step. And I'm going to be speaking at our Raza graduation for the Puente students. So honestly, I'm just being thrown into a lot of these honorable places, and hard work pays off. It does pay off, and I'm very happy that it's being recognized. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Cardenas. We will now move on to President and Executive Cabinet reports.
Let Mike lead off.
Thank you.
I'd like to call attention to an employee who's referenced in item 8.16 separations. Gail Jensen retired from the college effective March 31st after a distinguished 30-year career with Mount Centineo College. During that period of time, she promoted from the position of foundation accountant to our Dean of Administrative Services Controller position. And she was instrumental during a very difficult transition in business services recently. She's inspired her team and set us up well to move forward in her absence. But I think I speak on behalf of the entire business services branch when I say she will be sorely missed. And so anyway, best of wishes to Gail Jensen. And I just wanted to highlight her really remarkable career at the college. Thank you.
My update is that we have summer registration right around the corner. Priority reg appointments are going to be sent out starting next, or actually starting this week on Monday, the 7th. And the priority reg groups will begin registering on April 21st. So we're right around the corner. So we've been gearing up for that. We're also instituting our lobby consolidation with our enrollment services and counseling department, so it can be a one-stop shop for students during this summer reg process, and that is beginning next Monday. So we're really excited to get that going, and we expect there to be a few hiccups, but we'll be able to resolve those and pivot as necessary. Graduation is just around the corner, but we have over 900 students RSVP'd for the 3 ceremonies so far, and we still have several weeks to go with that open. And so we anticipate having a full graduation ceremony for each session. So that will be about 450 students at each graduation. So it's incredible that we're going to be able to serve that many students. Lastly, Lisa Campbell has coordinated our Dreamer Ally training, and this is particularly for our classified professionals. We have that happening April 23rd and 24th, as well as May 5th and 6th. Information is going out to the teams. We're really strongly encouraging our classified professionals and any member of the institution to participate in these trainings so that we can become allies and advocates for our undocumented students and be able to support them through every aspect and service that we have. So we'll be sending out that information shortly, but it's definitely something that we've been working on. And there's also some opportunities that folks that participate in this training can be highlighted for students so that they know who has been trained and who they can go to seek support. That concludes my report.
So kind of briefly, this is an exciting season each year. When we start to think about graduation coming up, it's also when we start to see students showing off their work and starting to look ahead at next steps and, joining up with institutions. I had the honor to, this will be funny, to show on Saturday morning at the honors convention in UC Riverside, and really got the chance to just experience the great work of our students, of many of our faculty that have prepared them. Eric Oslins and Christina Yamanaka were instrumental in organizing that entire conference. It's an opportunity for students to show their research posters as well as give presentations. I just wanted to share a couple of presentations that I had the opportunity to observe, which were way above my head. So super, super impressive. Annabelle Chetingi, and I'm sure I'm butchering her name, talked about challenging the definitions of prehistory and history. So really fascinating work there. And then Matt Piercy did some work estimating the body mass of ancient Denisovan humans using pinky joints and other small bones. So just way beyond anything I was studying in college, but very cool. And then also wanted to share that today our Puente cohorts left for their Northern California university tour. And so they're visiting 5 universities and they're returning this Sunday. So really great things there. And then finally, tomorrow on Friday, our faculty, we're having a meeting with them. The primary focus of that meeting is training on simple syllabus, which will address one of the challenges that were brought up during our accreditation involving our syllabi and our course learning outcomes. So doing great work there. And then we'll move onward. So that's all I have.
Out of report, and I can't really say too much because I'll start crying. But I do want to say that this has been an incredible journey for me. I have truly enjoyed working here and under the leadership of Dr. Schultz. And my crazy colleagues over here. They have been fabulous to work with. And I remember coming in as a temporary employee, and Brandon and Rebecca encouraged me to go get my master's degree so I could move up the chain. So I thank you for that. Sometimes it was a blessing, sometimes it was a curse. But it has been a nice adventure, and I hope to see nothing but successful things come from not only HR department, but the college itself.
I'll say more words later regarding Janine, but I can tell you that, again, not to make light of the tragedies that have happened in the Ohio Valley, but I think we've all pointed out to Janine that, is your home okay? And in the hopes that, would you reconsider because of all the devastation in the area? And she tells us she's nowhere near that. So, but again, reflecting on, going back on a couple of other things, it was just mentioned 1,350 approximate graduates. I was looking back. In my first year, we had 200 students graduate at the bowl. So that just is evidence of the tremendous growth we have. And then looking back on the agenda, it's always a special night to acknowledge the progress of our faculty as they go through the tenure process. And to look back, it's not that long ago that this class was hired during the midst of COVID. So it says a lot about our faculty to be able to navigate the challenges and continuing the quality of instruction that we have. So with that, I just want to make sure the board acknowledges the specialness of this meeting with that on there. I've been very busy, to say the least. I'm counting the days till my term is up. I was in Napa Valley College yesterday chairing an accreditation follow-up visit. And then the day before, I was walking the halls of the Capitol. And I will tell you, one of the chief staffers for one of the legislators, I saw so many I don't remember, former student trustee from Chaffee College. And he was able, what was really cool about that was he knew some of the same people and was able to speak to the value of community colleges. And speaking of that, I've been in a number of conversations. As you know, state budget, we'll have the May revised, but the discussion in the halls were about what is the impact of the stock market? Because as you know, a lot of the revenues generated by the state come from those high income earners. And we don't know what the revisions will look like in May. There is still a strong commitment to recognizing the growth that is out there for schools like us. I heard rumors, be glad you're at a community college because the other segments of higher education may not be seen as good with respect to the budget. So we have to be appreciative of where we are, because there is great respect for what the community colleges are able to do with our more than 2 million students. The other things that are happening is Joyce isn't here, but we had our ASC accreditation in automotive. We had the preliminary report. All looks good from the operations standpoint of the program. There are a few things we'll need to shore up on the facility side, but it's good to see that progressing. There's still another step forward. Although I think a lot of us were very disappointed that the gala was canceled, but that was due to just the finances not working out, and we were not able to pencil it out to be a profit. And the foundation does not want to lose money. And I was really disappointed in having to return my Mad Hatter costume. So maybe we'll resurrect it at some future time. But the foundation is constantly working to create revenue opportunities. And if you were here during spring break, there was a studio production going on, and we've had several shoots with Netflix production companies. I don't remember their name, but in a very short period of time, less than 2 months, the foundation will have brought in $50,000 in site revenue from shoots that will go to supporting students or programs. So with that, I always like to end on a positive note. So pretty cool. Although the foundation didn't have a gala, we're still bringing in money. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Schultz. We'll move on to other reports now. 5.4, Student Government Association Report.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I feel like spring break went by way too quickly. And yet student government has been as busy as ever. We did have a group go to the General Assembly for the Student Senate of California Community Colleges, as Student Trustee Cardenas mentioned. We were actually able to send one of our bigger groups that we've ever sent to a conference. There were 9 of us. And I feel like it actually made a really positive impact as far as advocacy, because we were able to get a lot of different opinions and a lot of different groups represented within that delegation. So I'm hoping that moving forward, we will start considering sending more of our students to these conferences, just so we can have that input and have them bring back whatever it is they learn at these advocacy events. General Assembly, as Trustee Cardenas mentioned, was very taxing. There were over 90 resolutions that we were expected to sift through and form opinions on. Some of the key resolutions that I wanted to bring up included the increase of our student representation fee from $2 to $6, which our delegation didn't necessarily agree with. However, it was passed at the for SSCCC, but we feel that there is room for us to lobby against that in the next few months, only because personally, I feel as though that's not in our students' best interest at the moment to increase that fee. I feel that we may risk more students actually opting out of that instead of them seeing what may be justifiable reasons as to why we would increase it, but it just didn't sit right with us when we were voting for and against it. So just to kind of give you a heads up on that. Also, one of the buzz topics for the weekend at General Assembly is that more and more schools are interested in the idea of a baccalaureate program within the community college level. And I thought it was a fantastic idea. I spoke to Cerritos College and kind of asked them how they got started on that. And it might be something that student government might pursue in the future, just to kind of advocate for on our end, because it does seem that at least per Cerritos College, it did make a difference as far as the economic impact within their community. And I think it may be a good idea to explore for our college as well. Besides General Assembly, student government special elections passed, so we do have a restructure of our board. We essentially have a student council at each campus now, and hopefully that will give us better student representation and allow us to focus on the interests of each campus moving forward. We also tabled at the career fair today, as Trustee Carpenter mentioned. There was a career fair at Menifee. Our group was able to kind of pass along flyers and hopefully get a good group of students for next year. And finally, our government is in talks with the Sustainability Task Force, as well as the Native American Student Success and Support Program, about starting an Indigenous garden at least one of the campuses. So we're just at the very beginnings of our talks with that. But hopefully it's something we can develop in the upcoming year. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
5.5 classified Senate report.
Greetings, everybody. So I want to say thank you again for bringing up these unique times that we're in. It is important to acknowledge that these are in fact difficult and unprecedented times. It is also important to acknowledge that education and educational institutions are all too often the only respite and sanctuary for many in our communities. We as classified are an essential part of the solution for many who come here to advance their lives and pursue their dreams. And we are also the front line who all too often bear witness to the challenges that students have to face. One of those challenges should not be getting help at school. But when we are understaffed and resources limited, it is inevitably the students who suffer. Through deeper empathy, compassion, and hard work, let's be an antidote to the world's chaos by going above and beyond for our students, our non-traditional students, and the classified professionals who support them. And all that being said, keep an eye out for May 18th through the 24th, which is going to be California School Employees Week. So let's recognize and set some time aside to say thank you. May 2nd is going to be a special event for Dia de las Madres that is going to be put together by the Mecha Club here at the Menifee campus, which is Mother's Day in Spanish. And I want to acknowledge these amazing students, Sam and Claudia. You guys have been amazing, and I'm very proud of you both for speaking up and doing an amazing job representing the student body. And you guys are going to be amazing leaders, and very, very glad to share this space with you all. Thank you.
5.6 Academic Senate Report.
Good evening, everybody. And yes, my voice is still not great. I feel good. I was going to take the whole week off to get better last week, and a project that's been 3 years in the making suddenly had to get excavated, and so I breathed dust for a week instead. So I still sound like this. But anyway, Senate elections for 25-26 are still ongoing. Voting will close actually on next Tuesday. We had kind of a delay and kind of a reboot because we needed to double check where people were assigned and what campus they could run for, et cetera. But we fixed that and back on track. One big change this year is due to the updated Senate Constitution. We're actually going to hold a second election for our site presidents. In the past, the site presidents were elected by the Senate body. Now it's going to go to a full vote for all faculty at each site. So we'll have a second election after that to get our site presidents here for 2025. We also have to have a special election in the fall for our TVC representative and an extra adjunct over at SJC, but that will be for the fall Senate to deal with. Also, the state academic Senate plenary sessions are held in a couple weeks, and several of us will be attending that. They're here in Southern California, so there'll be a few of us going, and I'll report to that, what happens there at the main meeting. Lastly, I wanted to talk about and bring to the board's attention that the Senate passed a resolution to kind of deal with hybrid classes and academic dishonesty. Since apparently online classes are definitely here to stay, we're having to deal with primarily the sciences, but all the classes have had some issues with academic dishonesty with the online classes. And in alignment with AP 4105 and 4107, we crafted a resolution to kind of address that issue. Ideally, we would like proctoring for various reasons. That's not going to happen. But according to the hybrid, it just basically says we have to meet in face-to-face on occasion. And we want to allow faculty to have basically an online class and meet face-to-face when assessment happens. So you'll be face-to-face with your faculty to take those exams. It helps address the dishonesty issue, gives faculty more flexibility on how to get that addressed, and formally, codify that so faculty is aware of it and can use that kind of modality if they wish to. It'll help address that issue, and we're happy that's going to happen. We believe it's kind of a good compromise to address that issue. We can invest in proctoring at some later date if that happens. I want to announce that on April 28th, we're having an art festival at the SJC campus. It started off as a continuation of the art courses annual art sale. And it kind of merged with, in the fall, the Indigenous Peoples Club has had a native art sale in the fall, which this was our second year this past November, and it was successful. We were twice the size. And it brought, we had singers and dancers. So we're combining those two efforts with the art club and the Indigenous Art Club to work together to have a joint fall, or rather spring art, which will have, music and dance and kind of be a more festive thing. And ultimately, I think the art and some other clubs involved are interested in sort of turning it back into more of the art festival that we used to have at Menifee. That was sponsored by the city, hosted on our campus, but we would like to host and hold our own and let it grow into that. Primarily at the San Jacinto campus, but as it grows, we can choose different campuses and move it around perhaps on an annual basis. So keep that in mind. If you have grad gifts or something you need to get, that'd be a good place to come get those things. And that's all I have for my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. We move on to item 6, our consent calendar. So 6.1 is an approval of the consent calendar. Before we begin, did any trustee request to remove anything from the consent agenda, to consider individually? Hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
A motion to approve the consent agenda?
We have a motion.
I'll second trustee.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, student trustee, please vote. Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
Item 10, open agenda, human resources. 10.1, CSEA and its chapter 767 Sunshine Proposal to MSJC for the academic year 2025-2026. This is a public hearing, so I will begin the negotiations by opening the public hearing. Is there any public comments? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and move on. We do not need to take any kind of a vote for this. I recall.
You do need to state that it opened at 5:32 and closed at 5:33.
Thank you. So we opened our public comments at 5:32, or the public hearing at 5:32. We closed the public hearing at 5:33. Thank you. Next is 10.2, Superintendent President Employment Contract. Do we have a motion to approve?
Chair Ashley, I move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item?
I think trustee Ashley, just to add to this, both trustee Ashley and I sat on essentially subcommittee, reviewed this process extensively with VP Stokes and went over the contract comparables with other CEOs at other community colleges. And we believe that this is a best representation of both trustee Ashley and I, since we both agreed on it, and the board in principle to some extent agreed on it, that this is the best action for our district carrying forward.
I hope everyone votes for this contract. Dr. Schultz has worked very hard and has been an excellent superintendent for MSJC. And with that, I will ask for the student trustee to vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote. Aye.
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 Oh, congratulations, Superintendent Schultz. Well, we're gonna bring you back. We'll move on now to item 11 in the open agenda. It's under Superintendent President's Office. 11.1, California Community College Trustee Board of Elections for 2025. And so I know many of you have been getting emails from board candidates. And what we need to do now is try to agree on 4 candidates on that list. I'd like to start. Can we all agree to include Jose Alcala from Riverside Community College District? Do we have any disagreement on that?
I would disagree with that.
Okay, we have one agreement, one disagree. Okay.
I would 100% agree with that. He's the only person that's running, or it's in there, that's representing Inland Empire. That's San Bernardino and Riverside County. And he's done a lot for our public relations and government relations committee.
All right. I've looked over the list. I've asked people. So if you guys would like to jot down, you have a pen, instead of reading them all out, I will read them out, but I've suggested number 5. That was Jose Alcala. I'd like to suggest 10, 11, and 15. That's Michael Rivas from Antelope Valley, Uduak Joe Intuk from Long Beach, and Tammy Silva Silver from Pasadena. So there's 4. If someone would like to suggest anyone else?
I would suggest Rebecca Barrett, Shin Lu from Cerritos, Milton Richards from Yosemite, and Gregory Hanna from Siskiyou.
This isn't gonna be as fast as I thought. Okay, can you,
Can I say,
say that again, please? We'll be right with you, trustee Corona. So can you repeat your list?
Yeah, sure. That's
Or
Rebecca,
no, just go by number if you can.
number 1, number 8, number 9, and number 12.
8, 9, 12. We have- Okay. Is there one person on that list that you feel more strongly about than anyone else?
Yeah, I would say number 8.
Number 8? I would more than happily give up my number 15 for your number 8. That's Tammy Silver from Pasadena. If you're agreeable. Anyone, we would.
Yes, I also had number 11 on my short list as well. So I thought.
Okay, okay, so why don't we? I see, if you are okay with number 11, then say so. That's
11
2,
is,
3, there's 4. Okay, so we are definitely sticking with number 11. We got one. Okay,
who's number 11?
number 11.
Who is it?
It's Udak Joe Intuk from Long Beach. I was okay. I will let go of my preference of Tammy Silver. And you mentioned you were most strongly for number 8, correct? Shin Lu. I'm happy to support Shin Lu from Cerritos College. College I've been to many times. Is there anyone else that has a problem with that? Well, if you're okay with that choice, please indicate so. If we have 3 of you, we can move on. There's 2 right now. And then we have a student trustee.
I'm good with anybody. It's questionable Gregory Hanna though. But again, if I could get Brian Silva to switch his mind. I mean, who else do we have representing this area? And I don't think he's extremely conservative or liberal. I think he's moderate. And he's got the experience and he's only been there for 3 years. So I spoke to him actually this morning. He's only been there for 3 years. It's not like he's been there for like 3 terms or anything. Jose Alcala from RCC.
Third person that's okay with Jose Alcala. So right now we don't have a third. Oh, we have a third vote. We're done.
Okay.
Jose Alcala is in. Okay, so there it is. Jose Alcala. That's 2. Shin Lu, do we have 3? Oh, I'm sorry. Student trustee.
Sorry, if I may,
Yes.
are you guys picking 4 or 7? Because
4.
it says on here that you're going to be voting 7 members.
It's only 4. I'm sorry.
It
There-
says on the actual thing right here.
I have the 4 candidates who. Yeah, and we have on our agenda the 4 seats, only one, the 4 candidates who received the most votes, so. I'm sorry, but thank you for bringing that,
I'll
because
just
if we
make-
were wrong, we'd have more work to do. Trustee Carpenter,
I also, in addition to some that were already noted, but number 16, Carolyn Inman.
and you would like to suggest Carolyn Inman?
I know she's based in San Diego. She has 30 years of experience, public school teacher. I'm good with her.
I'm fine, that's 3. Unless we're not done voting yet, like we can, but there's 3. We have Jose Alcala, we have Long Beach Udak Joe Intuk, and we have Carolyn Inman. We need one more. Shin Lu, you'd mentioned that when that was your number 1 pick. I'm okay with that if we have.
I'm okay with her too.
Okay, that would be, there we are. Okay. Shin Lu it is. We're done. Before we just accept that, does anyone feel slighted? Like they had someone in mind they didn't get that we would like to rediscuss? It would be, Okay, are we okay? Okay.
They're also
not gonna-
great. They're also great, you know?
Okay, all right, I have them here. Yeah. So yes, we have 5, 8, 11, and 16. So we're done. Thank you. That wasn't as painful. Did I get one wrong?
Oh, 5, okay, got it.
5, yeah, that's number 5. Okay. Say that again? Okay, so then I would like to adopt a slate of number 5. Sam, thank you.
Does this need to be approved or is this just a straight, you guys are picking it?
This will be we're gonna name off the 5 names we've agreed to just now and vote for those 5 as a slate.
So yes,
I'm
action.
sorry, those 4, not those 7.
Okay.
Yes, as an action item, yes.
And she's referencing the fact that it says in the recommended action to elect 7 members. That's the problem. If you scroll like there. So
Here it says,
Yeah.
down below it says 4.
In some years there, I think it's probably boilerplate carryover from previous, but the directions from the ballot.
Okay. Student trustee, that was a good eye that you caught that, but there are 4 openings.
So if you look at the directions from the Community College League, it says 4.
4, yeah.
So I think it was just boilerplate.
Okay.
Probably there were 7 last year. It was a lot easier.
In interest of brevity, I'm just gonna go name our slate by number. So we are voting to elect number 5, number 8, number 11, and number 16 as a slate for the college. Do we have a motion to vote this slate? Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Trustee?
Really quick discussion. What was the first one?
The first one was number 5, Jose Alcala from RCC.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. With that, please vote, trustees now. Aye.
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 Never a really easy and smooth way to do that. But we've never really had a big problem with it either. Okay. Okay, we're now on to item 12, public comment for items that are not on our agenda tonight. Do we have any, no, we don't have public comment. So now we can move on to our information agenda, item 13, ACCJC Annual and Fiscal Reports. Rebecca Teague, Vice President of Student Services, and Accreditation Liaison Officer Anna Sterling, Interim Dean of Institutional Effectiveness, and Stacy Kimbrough, Interim Associate Dean of Business Services, will provide an overview of our accreditation annual and financial reports. You have the floor. Thank you.
That was a mouthful.
It always is with your
Yes.
titles.
And Anna is luckily on vacation. So I have, yes, I know, very excited for her.
Well deserved.
It was, absolutely. And today we have for the first time Stacy Kimbrough presenting alongside. So be kind because we want her to do this again next year. So this is, yes. So this year, as in every year, we present to you the annual ACCJC report and also the fiscal report. This is a requirement through ACCJC, which monitors the health and stability and continued alignment with the ACCJC standards and also with all of the requirements through the Department of Ed. What you've seen in years past is that this report represents a 3-year review of our data to determine if there are significant shifts in our demographics and our success metrics. And so they review that information at the commission and they use that for our ICER, they use that for review and also in compliance with Department of Ed regulations. This is self-reported by every institution. And so what we utilize are internal data systems to provide each of the metrics, as well as some other external data systems that we'll go through. We do have a link so that you can view all of our old ACCJC annual reports as well as the fiscal reports, because we are required to have those posted. All right, so this is going to be very quick. So in your board packet, we had the information for the ACCJC annual report. It features all of the demographics for headcount and describes whether we've had growth or declines. It has information featuring our distance education programs, performance against our institution set standards and our stretch goals, which I'll get into in a quick second, as well as course completion, degree certificate completion, and transfer. And all of those have also institution set standards as well as stretch goals. In addition, out of our career technical education programs, we feature data specific to our licensing examination pass rates and our job placement rates. New to the ACCJC annual report this year is an opportunity for institutions to provide an institutional reflection against the rubric for effective institutional outcome transparency. This is a new tool that they're utilizing to measure just the effectiveness of institutions' ability to utilize data and storytell. Specifically on accessibility, whether our data is recent and contextualized, where it's located, if it's on our website, if we publicize that information, if we share that openly and widely, the disaggregation points for our data and what is available, as well as obviously the reflection and storytelling, because it's one thing to present data in a matrix or in an Excel sheet or in a data system, but how do we utilize data to tell our story as an institution? And so they are shifting into this new perspective on data and telling our story. So you'll see a copy of that rubric, and our institution was just at this point required to provide a reflection of where we felt we landed on this rubric. So you'll see that noted in the ACCJC annual report questions. Also, you all are hopefully familiar with our institution set standards and our stretch goals. So just as a reminder, our institution set standards are the floor levels by which we do not want to go below as an institution relative to specific metrics. And then obviously stretch goals are our aspirational goals as an institution, what we aim to provide for our students. And if at any point in time our institution dips below our floor level, we are required to provide improvement plans to the ACCJC. But luckily with our data, we have not fallen below any of those metrics. And so we are in good standing moving forward. Just wanted to highlight one feature. Obviously, our licensure examination pass rates with our nursing program and our DMS program are consistently strong. Our DMS is at the institution set standards. So again, the floor level by which we don't want to go below is 75%, but we knock it out of the park every year at 100%. And our nursing program has consistently stayed strong as well. Here's a listing of all of the job placement programs that we have identified that have a cohort of 10 or more completers. So obviously we have many more career technical education programs than are listed here, but per the ACCJC, they only require those programs within that cohort year of 23-24 that have more than 10 completers. And so we are only required to report on those programs, provide the institution set standards, and also the stretch goals for those. One thing I want to note for this particular report is that you're going to view a lot of zeros in these categories, not because the job placement report or job placement rates were at 0%, but because as an institution, we utilize what's called Data Vista. It's a data platform from the Chancellor's Office. It used to be called Launchboard, and we typically utilize that resource to be able to find and identify the job placement rates for all of our programs. Well, the Chancellor's Office recently migrated from Launchboard to Data Vista. And for all the categories of programs that we have, they have not migrated the data for the 23-24 cycle. So we have noted that within our comment section within the report because it looks like a lot of zeros, but absolutely we are not at 0%. We know that to not be accurate. However, we do have to complete that field with whatever we have available at this point in time because the report is due tomorrow. And so we noted that to ACCJC. I'm most certain that other institutions are in the same boat as us because they're relying on that data source and it's not available. One thing that we are looking towards in the future, however, is that data reliability in these external systems that we have zero control over may also not be updated in time for these types of reports. So we want to take some back of that local control. And so it is our goal to be able to do surveys in regular intervals for all the programs that have completers of 10 or more, so that we can get live data from actual students, whether they were placed in a job within the field of study that they completed here at MSJC. So we're hoping to match survey data alongside hopefully up-to-date Data Vista system data, and be able to quantify that for this report in the future. So again, just wanted to make sure that was of note. If it becomes an issue with ACCJC, I trust that they will absolutely contact us and let us know that we need to update the fields within this report when we can. So I just wanted to make sure that you were very clear on what you saw in that document. Any questions so far with the ACCJC annual report before I throw it over to Stacy? All right.
So the ACC annual fiscal report goes over the key indicators to show our health, scores on the main factors. A lot of the information that's shown, you guys see throughout the year, goes over our revenue, our expenses. I know, sorry, I haven't done this before. You guys make me all nervous. So goes with the ratios, some of the key factors right here. We'll go through the report. It's in your packet as well. It goes over our OPEB, some of our liabilities, our audit findings as well, and some of the other financials. So, any questions? So some of the there we go. So some of the key pieces that we show is the revenue, and like Rebecca mentioned, it shows you the 3 years. The key pieces here, the 3 years is the increases. So this is our revenue. This represents an 18% increase. I'm not going to go over all these pieces because most of these things, like we mentioned, you guys have seen throughout the year. This is reported in our 24-25 budget. Yeah, technology. There we go. This section reports whether or not there's any additional funding. We didn't use any lost revenue for HERF in this year. This reports our beginning balance. This shows the increases. The large increase from 21-22 to 22-23 is a reflection of the increase for our reserves. The next section is our expenses increase, which is an increase of a 9% spend over 22, 23, 24. The next two sections are not applicable as we don't have any cash flow issues or any trans. The section that I actually wanted to point out, which doesn't show year over year, I'm going to go down a little bit further, is our OPEB section. This one is one of the only ones that doesn't show you a snapshot of the 3 years. And this one is really important to point out because this is a big indicator associated with interest rates right now and something that we're looking at. Our OPEB, which is our liability for our health and welfare for retirees afterwards, in prior fiscal year, our OPEB funded was at 62%. We're at 72% for 23-24. So that's a big increase. This is showing that we're getting closer to be fully funded for our OPEB. What's important to know about this is that the closer we are to funded means that the more money we have in there and that we get closer to being self-funded. I think that's terminology, right? Which means that we don't have to put money in from our ongoing budget in order to continue to fund this, and it will fund itself automatically. So it doesn't have to come out of our operational budget in order to continue. We could add $1 million.
Real quick question. What
Absolutely.
would be that dollar amount that we would need to achieve in order to be 100% fully funded?
Can you scroll up just a little bit, please? For 23-24, the fully funded amount was the 18.7 million. We currently add $1 million per year, but then we also, what makes it grow faster is what the interest is. So that it actually increased by 2 million more than that. It went up by 6.8 million was our liability previously, and it went to 5.1. And that was a combination of, it grew, I have a couple numbers. So it was 18.01, what is our total liability for 22-23. Our total liability went up to 18.7 for 23-24. So our liability increased, but our actual amount outstanding dropped from 6.8 to 5.1. But we only contributed $1 million of our cash flow The additional increase was attributed to the interest that we earned by having those funds invested. So the closer you get to be fully vested in it, you will get the interest and the money will grow on that, so we don't have to invest our capital.
Right, turned it off. It would be approximately $6 million of additional contribution to get to that state that Stacy's describing.
And then let me get my screen in front of me, have it, sorry. Our combined total balances, this is our cash balance increase. You see the 71 to the 96 million, that's a increase associated with, like we just mentioned, the increase of our reserve up to the 17.6%, 21, 22 to 22, 23. We don't have any issues with our cash flow. The next section just talks about our audit findings. In prior years, we had no audit findings. As already reported with 23, 24, we did have one audit finding. Our FTEs, we're on a 3-year average for what our funded FTEs are, and our budgeted FTEs, and our actual FTEs are reported in our 320. We did have negotiations that close out every year. We do have some open negotiations as well. These are our loan default rates currently, because they're slightly behind. It's still reporting in cohort 21 is 0%. And then we have our administrative status. The VP of Student Services was hired, Miss Rebecca, officially on August 1st of 23. Get my years wrong. We're already in the next budget cycle, so I apologize. And then we have an interim of business services. Any other questions?
But just thanks for clarifying that, especially on the zeros. That makes sense.
This is an information agenda, if that's a reminder. There are 3 different categories of board policy revisions that we need to look over this coming month. We'll vote on these usually the following month. So if you see something in there that you'd like to call to our attention, be ready to speak about it next month or to talk about it before next meeting. That's our 13.2 board policy revisions. So yes, they'll be brought back on in our main meeting. Okay. That's it. We move on now to item 14.1, adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
We have a second. Is there any discussion before we do so? Hearing none, we'll go to the student trustee vote.
Aye.
Trustees, please vote.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 5:59 PM.